Not long ago, everyone was talking about MySpace, but now Facebook is all the rage on the internet. Never heard of it? Don't worry, the CBC's Zuleka Nathu will fill you in.
MySpace started as a fast-moving response to an early social networking craze. In 2003, sites like Friendster showed that people didn't just want to read the web, they wanted to build an identity on it, connect with friends, and hang out online. At an internet marketing company called eUniverse, later known as Intermix Media, a small team saw an opening. The idea was simple: copy the core social features people loved, and ship quickly. MySpace's early product leaned into what the web already did well: personal pages, customization, and sharing. Profiles weren't locked down behind strict design rules. Users can make pages loud, messy, and totally their own, and that flexibility became the product. By 2004, Intermix was describing MySpace as one of its community-oriented properties, alongside entertainment sites and other web brands. In other words, MySpace wasn't born as a polished tech platform. It was built as a web community that could grow fast inside a bigger internet business. As MySpace spread, it became a magnet for teenagers and for music culture online. The site let you add friends, post photos, write blogs, and, most importantly, show off your personality. People learned basic HTML and copy-pasted snippets to add backgrounds, glittery graphics, and autoplay music. For many users, your MySpace profile wasn't just a page. It was a statement. That popularity came with attention from parents, schools, and local news. Stories in 2005 described MySpace as an online phenomenon, spreading fast through schools and friend groups. Teens defended it as a fun way to stay connected, while adults worried about oversharing and online safety. Even in its rise, MySpace was already wrestling with the downside of openness. When anyone can find anyone, the risks go up. Then the business world noticed. In July 2005, media giant News Corporation, led by Rupert Murdoch, agreed to buy Intermix, the parent company of MySpace, for $580 million. It was part of a broader moment when traditional media companies rushed to buy internet attention. News Corp executives described MySpace as a way to reach a young audience online, a demographic that advertisers wanted, but old media struggled to hold. At the time, MySpace's growth was explosive. It was posting huge year-over-year increases in visitors, and it was becoming one of the main places people spent time online. News Corp folded MySpace into a new unit, Fox Interactive Media, and the expectation was clear. MySpace wasn't just a cultural phenomenon, it had to become a business. In 2006, MySpace hit a milestone that's hard to imagine today. Tracking firms reported that it was pulling ahead in page views, climbing above major internet giants. In a world before smartphones dominated attention, MySpace could be the first site people opened in the place they refreshed all day. Social networking wasn't a side activity anymore. It was becoming the center of the web. But being huge wasn't the same as being stable. MySpace had to scale technology, fight spam, and keep a chaotic platform usable. It also had to prove it could turn traffic into reliable revenue. And the competition was changing. Facebook was growing with a cleaner design and a more consistent user experience. While MySpace embraced the wild creativity of profiles, Facebook pushed a more uniform identity, and for many users, that felt simpler and safer. By 2007 and 2008, the story started to shift from dominance to pressure. In interviews at the time, MySpace leaders acknowledged the feeling that the easy growth phase was ending. Facebook was catching up globally, and the social web was moving toward real names, cleaner interfaces, and faster performance. MySpace tried redesigns and new features to broaden its appeal beyond music and teens, but it was fighting a perception problem and a product problem at the same time. The late 2000s were when the decline became visible. Users didn't leave all at once, but the momentum moved. Advertisers followed audiences to newer platforms. And inside News Corp, MySpace became harder to manage like a traditional media property. As the web shifted to feeds, mobile use, and app ecosystems, MySpace looked like a leftover from an earlier era of the internet. In 2011, News Corp finally sold MySpace for about $35 million, a fraction of the $580 million it paid 6 years earlier. Now, the buyers were advertising company Specific Media, teaming up with Justin Timberlake. Reuters reported that more than half of MySpace's workforce was expected to be laid off after the sale. The deal was treated as a case study in how fast internet platforms can rise and how fast they can lose relevance when the product, the culture, and the business model drift out of alignment. After the sale, MySpace tried to reinvent itself again. In 2013, the new MySpace opened to the public with a clear shift toward music and discovery, leaning into the part of its identity that still had cultural meaning. It was cleaner, more modern, and built around streaming and artist pages. But reinvention couldn't bring back the moment MySpace once owned. And in 2019, the platform suffered another blow to its legacy. MySpace acknowledged that older uploads, music, photos, and videos might no longer be available after a server migration project. For many people, that was the final symbol of what had been lost. Not just the social network, but a time capsule of early internet culture. The rise and fall of MySpace isn't just about Facebook beating it. It's about timing, technology shifts, and the difficulty of scaling a messy creative community into a long-term platform. For a few years, MySpace wasn't just a website, it was where the internet felt alive, personal, and loud. And even after the peak passed, its influence can still be seen in how people express themselves online today.